Lay back, relax, enjoy it all. Saturday night, it's time to say no more. S&M with Tally and Chaos Steve. Come pleasure or pain, welcome to the stream.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to S&M. I'm Ivy, and this is Harley.
Hi!
How is everyone doing?
I fixed it! I fixed it!
You're a little too excited about that. You know you're not actually Harley, right? Like,
I'm aware.
okay, I'm just making sure.
She's a very excitable character.
Very. You get a little too into the spirit of it, though. Oh, my goodness. Hey, Rick.
She's
Hi, Assassin.
I like that.
She is.
And maybe a little bit psychotic.
Just a little bit. Only a little bit.
Only a smidge.
She still like murdered people. She only murdered people a little bit, you know.
Well, it depends on which basis of a character you're going on. Now, if we're going on the Harley in some of the comic books, she never actually killed anyone. There's some comic. There's some comic. Well, there's some comics where her actions resulted in people's deaths. There are comics where she had nothing to do with any of the deaths that happened. It was all Joker.
Mm-hmm.
And then there are comic books where, oh yeah, she was a straight up psycho. Depends on the comic book.
That's true. If you give me just a second.
Like, if you want to go with the Arkham franchise, she never directly killed someone, and it wasn't from lack of trying. She just wasn't very good at it. And she caused the death of the 3 fake Jokers.
Okay, I'm lost. 3 fake Jokers?
Yeah, okay, Joker's blood was toxic, and it was killing him. So he injected his blood. He sent off bags of his blood to hospitals. And due to a mix-up, 4 people had blood transfusions.
Oh.
And so they started turning into Jokers. And she wanted them back because at this point, Joker was dead. We're talking Arkham Knight here. But she wanted these Jokers because at this point Joker was dead, and she released them, and they ended up getting killed by the 4th guy who was infected with the blood the longest, but he didn't show any symptoms. That or he was just very good at hiding it.
Like
I highly
that
recommend playing
that makes me go, he was the only one that wasn't affected.
Even Bruce Wayne was affected, and he was the Joker puts a shitload of his blood into Batman. It was kind of a way of forcing him to find a cure.
Mustafa said 5 out of 10, not enough green. Fuck you. I put a lot of effort into this outfit. Thank you very much. I think I look plenty.
Look at all the vines.
I mean, yeah, the entire place is covered with them. I should have put some on the couch back there too, but oh well. I'll grow those while we're talking.
So, although she never actually killed the new Jokers, her actions technically resulted in their death.
That's fair. We could have had hot lesbo action with the female fake Joker. Yeah, I mean, we know Harley's bi, so
she was very but the female Joker was very into Batman.
Of course she was. Because everyone hates Batman.
Well, when I say very into Batman, like when Harley and her people came to take the Jokers away, she wanted Batman to kick the shit out of out of Harley's henchmen, so she could go back to Batman and be his prisoner.
Yeah. Sorry, hang on.
She was a crazy bitch.
Sorry, I got tagged in something on Twitter that blew up my feed. I was looking for stuff to talk about and ended up just seeing boobs, so.
It distracted you.
No, it wasn't It wasn't the distraction of the boobs. It was more of my feed was full of people talking about said boobs, so. Because someone tagged me in something. It's a long story. It's a real long story.
Richard's asking if Harley started in the 90s Batman animated series. I'm pretty sure she did. Back then, she was actually a Harlequin, not what I am now.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure she didn't smoke either.
Probably not, but I do.
I'm teasing you. Just giving you a hard time. With that said, how's your week been, Miss Tally? We haven't talked much this week.
It's been alright. I started doing the voice recordings.
That's good.
I haven't got very far, but yeah.
Well, that's good. Whenever you get it all set up, we'll chill it out. Definitely promote the hell out of it. But
you know what? I'm sitting here reading and I fuck up a word, and I just sit there and go, "Fuck!" And then I pause. I stop the recording and cut out the bit I mistake. The whole entire sentence that I did, where I fucked up, and do it all again.
Hi there, Beth. Yeah, and Mustafa was just basically answering the same question that you answered. Yes, Harley started in Batman the Animated Series and was based off the costume that an actress in the old soap opera Santa Barbara wore during a dream sequence. Yeah, Harley's character has had her...
She's a very complex character.
She's had some very interesting evolution over time, and there are a lot of people who don't like necessarily the direction she's gone. I, on the other hand, actually do. I find that she takes her almost naive way of viewing the world to...
I wouldn't say she's highly intelligent. I mean, you've got to remember, she was a very good psychiatrist.
Mm-hmm. Well, depends on the lore, because there are lores that are like, oh, hey, yeah, she was pretty intelligent and she just got tricked, or there's others that were like, no, she literally blew her way into the position because she was a hoe and ended up was like, oh, this will make me famous. I'll work on this Joker guy. It can't be all that hard, right? Well, he realized what an idiot she was and took advantage of it.
She found him intriguing, and that was his easy way in.
Right. He just waited for the weakness. They also stated that she has split personalities now, and that Harley's personality is just the stronger one. What? That's news to me.
Yeah, that is a thing. She's got Harleen Quinzel, which is the Doctor, but then she's also got Harley Quinn, and because of her acid bath, or depending on which lore you go with, it could be the acid bath that she took, or it could be because of her interactions with the Joker, Harley Quinn became the dominant personality over Harleen Quinzel.
That's news to me.
Actually, if you play the DLC for Arkham Knight, while you're playing through, you can actually hear her Harleen Quinzel trying to tell Harley Quinn, "You shouldn't be doing this. This is bad." And she's there going, "Oh, shut up, Duck!" Talking to herself. It's pretty amusing.
No, I haven't seen that part, so that's interesting because I feel like that's something that I totally missed. Quizzer was here, he'd be all up in my business about like, oh, here's this and this and this about Harley, but he's not. So the Joker got a new female sidekick. I saw. I don't know how I feel about her.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Punchline. Punchline isn't even actually Joker's girl. She was just using him while working for someone else. Yeah, I mean, I got the impression that she was only temporary. Very much so. And again, I'm not actually as familiar with a lot of the more recent comic stuff, so.
I do quite like Ivy too. She's also a very complex character, but you could say her basic thing is she's an eco-terrorist. She wants to destroy humanity so plants can take over the world.
Assas says no one uses the Joker. Anyone who thinks he can be fooled does not know the character. I would point out several times when Batman has easily gotten the upper hand on Joker. Now, granted, Joker has gotten just as many up on him, but, you know, to act like he's just unfoolable is not accurate. So.
Well, yeah. He can be fooled. He's just highly intelligent and it is very difficult. And when he, due to the way his personality is, when he does get fooled, he lashes out and kills people and blows up buildings.
Ivy's now neutral and one of the avatars of the green, like the Swamp Thing. Yeah, I mean, you'd figure she eventually, when she stops being an eco-terrorist, would go that direction. I mean, and it's just like, okay, I protected this particular thing.
If you look at, if we go on the Arkham series, at the end of that, she dies saving Gotham because there's a cloud of toxic fear gas that's all over Gotham, and this toxin it just kills off plants, and she didn't want that to happen, so she uses plants to neutralize the toxin, and as a result she dies.
Yeah.
So if we go from that, Ivy's last action was a noble one.
I mean, there's been a lot of things in the comics that she's done where she's actually worked with Batman before. It
normally comes down to Batman saying that if you don't help me, every plant will die. It won't just be people that will die.
Pretty much, yeah. And she has a very specific agenda in that case, but
you've got to remember, when it comes to Ivy, she's got very simple goals, and one of those is plants are her babies.
Mm-hmm.
And she can't stand to have them suffer.
Wally Flash also kind of killed her with his powers, went out of whack after he was brought back from being trapped in the Speed Force thanks to Dr. Manhattan. That's way deeper than I would ever get in the stuff. The Batman has also outsmarted Ra's al Ghul, and he can outsmart of course he can outsmart the Joker. No flunky would be able to do that. You're assuming she's a flunky. You're assuming she's not a major player. You're assuming a lot, and you're assuming she didn't know exactly what she was dealing with going in. You know, it's a person can be a lot more capable than they pretend to be. So
yeah, I often get overlooked as a dumb blonde. Sometimes I'm just playing that act. People often let their guard down around you if they think you're just
if they think you're unassuming and disarming, you know, it can be advantageous.
This is very true.
Too bad the Batman isn't here. Oh, I'm sorry. You're blonde. Check. Stop that. You can see she's blonde if you look at the screen. I had something else I was gonna say and I got sidetracked.
Go for it.
Oh, I told ship Harvey and Ivy. Harley and Ivy in the comics. I totally ship them. It's great.
A lot of people do.
I love it.
People do.
If fucking Quiz was here, he hates it.
Why? Hi, Pat.
He's just like, no, because blah, blah, blah. My social justice inserts, and I'm just like, it can be a natural evolution for a character. It's okay, kids. Like, people can just be like, oh, well, I was always this way.
There's nothing wrong with shipping Harley and Ivy. I mean, they are best friends, and they do have sexual tension.
Oh, no, there's been actual relationship stuff between them in the comics now.
Well, yeah, it depends on which comic you go through, but one thing that is constant, no matter which comic book you read, is they are friends, very good friends, and they often do, even if they don't have an actual relationship, they have some kind of sexual tension between them.
I mean, it's just like the sexual tension between us and Pat. I mean, oh my goodness. He popped in and said, hello, ladies. I had to comment, so.
I know.
Ivy was the first person she dated after she left the Joker. Right. And Ivy treated her considerably better than anything that Joker ever did for her. Because people try to ship Harley and Joker. I'm like, stop. You're literally shipping an abusive relationship.
Have you watched the Harley Quinn TV cartoon thing?
I have not. I've read some of the comics and stuff, so.
Yeah, there's actually a cartoon. It's just called Harley Quinn. And in it, Ivy is engaged to marry someone called Kite Man. And when Harley did the whole bachelorette party thing for Ivy, they had sex. And I think a big part of it was because Ivy wasn't too sure about whether or not she wanted to get married. But for some reason, her and Harley kept getting drunk and having sex. And Harley wanted more, but Ivy was like, I can't, I'm engaged to someone else. So Harley was like, all right, I'll back off. Because you mean a lot to me.
That's sad. And makes me annoyed. What? What did we miss?
Hikari's last comment.
Oh. We do not speak of Kite Man nor Condiment King. What the fuck?
That's a real character. Those are real characters.
Watching people play Phasmophobia all day, some have been annoying. Yeah, no, I keep trying to get keep trying to get me to get into that game, and I refuse. Like
I'd
I don't
play
think
with you.
I don't think it would be that bad in a group. I don't wanna. I definitely couldn't do it alone because like the RNG factors of that game, even though people have started to figure out the statistics of what the actual numbers are and when the ghosts start to get agitated and things like that, and when they'll start, attacking people, and how all that works. You play Phasmophobia with me?
I'll play it with you. Sounds fun.
Can your computer handle Phasmophobia?
I have no idea, but we can try.
We can certainly check it out. We can get a group together, a 4-man group, because Mitsuki keeps begging me to play it, and I'm just like, no. She's like, yes.
I watched her and her boyfriend play it, and she was the biggest wuss I've ever seen.
Yes. Oh, and there's Eve. Hi, Eve.
Hey.
They should just call the damn game Ghostbusters the game. They really should have, because it's like Ghost Hunters.
Ghost Hunter.
Yeah, it's like Ghost Hunters the game, because it is Ghost Hunters, like the TV show. It's like you go into a haunted house and go, "Spirit of John Smith, are you here? Give us a sign." You like literally, that's how you interact with the ghost. You can use voice commands to actually draw the ghost out. You put down the spirit book and let them write in the book or whatever, and
It sounds creepy and awesome, and I love it. And I've got wine. I think I might have to save that wine for
You'll need
in case Johnny Hellcat decides to do one of his torture streams.
He says you look very boobalicious.
Of course. This is sitting wrong though. It's sitting wrong.
Do that again. Just like adjust it again.
That?
I think you almost had it right. Yeah, there you go. You're welcome, chat. You're welcome. I do this for you. Hi, Travis. Well, that seals the deal right there. What seals the deal? Who are we sealing? I'm not sealing any deal. No deals. I'm Ivy, not the devil. We're demons last 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago? 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, it was 2 weeks ago.
That was the time. That was the time to make a deal to sell your soul to me, but nope, sorry.
I am so excited.
Uh-huh.
I'm gonna try it tonight. Like once I've taken all this off. But I've got horns.
Does it
like actual horns that are supposed to
does it make you horny, Tally? I'm sorry. It was a terrible joke.
No, you're not.
You're not sorry. It was a terrible joke.
You're not sorry at all. But one goes there.
Hey, it's the wrench spanking girl. That's what you're going to be known as now, Eve.
The what?
The wrench spanking girl. She said, "I'm going to take this." She keeps threatening to take the wrench that we gave her and spank people with it.
And I've got special effects spirit gum to actually stick them on.
Yeah, and you could just hide the other parts with your hair, yeah.
Well, I've actually got liquid latex so that I can try and hide the edge and then put makeup over the top of it to hide it. So, yeah, that'll be fun. It's a shame I didn't have these when we actually did demons. These would have been so much better than those horns that I did have.
I'm gonna spank both your asses.
I've got these. I've got liquid latex, and I've got the spirit gum to put them on. Yay!
I just say bring it, because I'll spank you right back.
You talking to Eve?
She said I'm gonna spank both your asses.
I'm okay with this.
Tyler's like, all right, come on. Oh, goodness me.
Don't threaten me with a good time.
Whenever we want to get into a political thing, I do have a thing I would like to talk about, but...
Let's do it.
You want to do it right now? I thought we were having fun talking about comics and stuff and costuming. Oh, excuse me.
I mean, you did say you have some friends who you wanted to talk... Like, we'll bring them on the show at some point and talk about closet cosplays.
That is true, because if you notice my
what the majority of my cosplays are.
Yeah, if you notice mine is very simple. Like, I just did makeup. My hair is automatic. My hair is already red. I did the little vines, and I got this little lingerie top, and I'm wearing a bra under it because this thing is see-through.
I've got a bodysuit like that.
Kefki! Hi, Kefki! Haven't seen her in a little while. She's been not feeling the wells, and I'm glad to see her back in chat. Hey, that's Tally's line, Hikaru. It's kind of like how I can't go to hell because Lucy is such a bitch and put out a protection order on me because he would have to get off my throne when I got there. Tally says that line all the time.
There's a reason I'm not allowed in hell. The demon's just there to keep my throne warm, and he's aware of it. So he's got a restraining order, so I can't die. Heaven won't take me, and the devil's scared I'll take over.
I'm sad that Halloween is next week. Why are you sad? I love Halloween.
Because once Halloween happens, it'll be over.
That's true. Chocolate honey daddy. Eve says, okay, bend over and put that ass in her lap.
Woo! I almost fell. I'm good.
I think we would have all been very entertained if you did, Tally. God damn it. You're going to wear this short-ass skirt again and then put your ass up on the screen. You do it again, I'm not editing it out.
It's alright, you can only see my thigh.
No, it's edited out now, so there's no way they'll be able to see it, so I'm going to talk about it. This hoe, if y'all didn't pay attention last week, flashed y'all on camera. It's edited out now, so it's gone.
When I stood up and adjusted my skirt, like, yeah. It was not correct.
I was just like, she's like, Eve, I might have made a mistake. I'm like, no, you didn't. She went back and looked, she's like, no, here's the timestamp. And I went, motherfucker. All right.
She had me play it over and over again before I cottoned on to what she was doing.
I was like, wait, I missed it. Do it again. Do it again. You didn't really see anything, but your skirt came up to like an inappropriate level. And it was like, yeah. Okay, yeah. I'll be honest. I'll be honest. It was like maybe 2 frames, and I just didn't say anything because wifey didn't. Yeah, no.
Like your wife would have complained.
Pat said, "Do it again." That's for DMs. No, we can't do that on stream. Later. But yeah. Closet cosplays, something that usually is just like very simple outfits like this. That's just like literally this is a lingerie top.
I've got so many things that I can use for closet cosplay, like this thing. I love my bodysuits. I would not. I love them so much.
I would. I think you should have worn that today because. Oh goodness.
We
just got a donation.
You donated $5.
We got a donation.
The final curse of 2020 is that everyone will start doing Borat voices again.
Travis, thank you for the $5, Travis. He said the final curse of 2020 is that everyone will start doing Borat voices again. Yeah,
I remember that. It drove me crazy.
He's got a new movie out.
Oh, God. Why?
Because he hates us all. He hates us all.
I remember when he released that Ali G song.
Oh, no.
Ugh. What was it called?
that's not good.
Julie? Something? Me Julie. That's what it was. Ugh. Like, whoever's idea it was for him to be famous should have been shot in the head.
Oh my gosh. That's dramatic.
You don't disagree, though.
I mean, I don't publicly agree with it either, Tally. Eve, honey, you did too. I didn't flash my stuff yet last week. I wasn't wearing a skirt.
Oh.
I've shown my panties, but my panties have been caught on camera before.
Every time she does flash, she tends to be wearing Daisy Duke shorts.
Yeah, like I am right now. Totally not moving now. That's what DMs are for, and y'all gotta have the balls to come to me on DMs and butter me up to get those kind of pictures. So, anywho,
if you know what you're doing, it's pretty easy.
Oh my god. Carpenter Brett's sci-fi space opera Blood Machines is now on. Oh, I know what I'm watching for Halloween. If Blood Machines is on Prime, show us those cheeks, bunny. No, not on stream.
Clap them cheeks.
He got his ass yeeted from Facebook for Twitter, I forget which. Wait, who did?
I have no idea.
Who were we talking about? I don't know.
I don't know. But closet cosplays.
I'm too shy to message anyone. I was shy to message SJA about her book club. Well, I mean...
If you want to join a book club, we've got one in our server. We should actually start doing a weekly thing where we actually get together in the voice chat for that.
Unofficially. And then usually book clubs like pick a book to read and stuff.
Yeah.
So far it's just been like, hey, I really like this book or this book series, and we've suggested things to each other.
I mean, it's relatively easy to just read a book online.
Oh, the Borat guy, yeah. Hello, Evil Jonathan. That's gonna be Dr. No now. I realized that yesterday. Evil Jonathan. So I realized that yesterday. I'm like, wait a minute, and that's how I know who that is. Dr. No is now Evil Jonathan, so he's changed his identity again. And who is Miss Tally supposed to be? I'm pretty sure she's pretty obvious. Thought she's more obvious than me. Then again, the Vines do kind of sell it.
They do.
I'm all tangled up now.
I mean, my cosplay's a bit...
Your cosplay looks wonderful. I don't know what you're talking about.
I have got to make adjustments. But I've even got them.
Yeah, she has the leggings and stuff to go with it. She's got the whole shebang. I'm just like over here, basic bitch with green lingerie and vines.
I ran out of the black and red hairspray though, so I've got purple hair chalk and red hair chalk. That was fun. It made a mess. And it's all over my arms.
Oh, Harley and Ivy. Yeah, you get it. You got it.
Yay! Yay!
He finally got one without having to be told. Even if I didn't blow your cover, it's easy to see your Dr. No. Chaos representing the green. Of course.
No, I'm not the 90s Harley. I couldn't find the bodysuit.
No, she's actually closer to Arkham Harley.
I'm actually Arkham Knight's DLC Harley.
Mm-hmm. Much more current Harley. TBH, I don't care for the old Harley anyway. I didn't like her outfit. I like this outfit more. That's just my personal preference. Other people are like, no, I like the bodysuit, and I'm just like, okay, that's your preference. It's not mine.
I like the corset and the leather pants with the thigh-high boots that she had in Arkham City.
Mm-hmm.
And also the nurse's outfit that she had in Arkham Asylum was pretty awesome too.
Mm-hmm. It said it checks is it true that Kafka can do a Harley impression. She does damn good Harley impression.
Mr. J always said, if it ain't complicated, it ain't worth doing.
Mm-hmm.
I really went, I got it completely bad then. I went so bad at the end.
And all I have to do is just kind of pull my Laura Bailey impression, and my voice gets really sultry and sexy. And I can just be Ivy. Hello, Harles. How are you, dear?
Hi, Red!
Kids get all worked up when I do that.
I couldn't keep it. I'm sorry.
You're fine.
I even decorated my headset to be Harley style. I've got a. Is this one the blue bow? That's the blue bow, and that's the red bow.
Did you know Harley was in Batman Beyond: Return of the Joker? I did not.
Neither did I. I have actually got that on a list to watch though. And I still need to finish watching the original 90s animated series though.
Mm-hmm.
And then I can go to Batman Beyond. Okay, so what's this political thing you had?
Well, I'm setting it up now.
Is it gonna be the
article I just DM'd you? Yeah.
Oh. Oh.
Nice Uma Thurman impression. Laura Bailey was in a lot of stuff. Laura Bailey is like my go-to sultry accent. Like, that's how if I want to sound sexy and you know, flirty, that's what I go for. Is my Laura Bailey impression. So, anyways, I will share the article with you guys. And I haven't read this yet, so I don't actually know where it's gonna go with this, but I have a really good idea of what it's gonna look like.
I've got to say that statement at the top.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, it's an opinion piece from the New York Times, so I'm not exactly hopeful, but you never know. I might be really surprised on what it actually ends up being.
We will try to correct any outlandish, stupid shit that comes up.
So says 17 watching, only 12 likes. Let's go, you simps. Get those numbers up. Those are rookie numbers.
What?
He's calling the audience simps. That's why I'm giggling.
Josh said something, and I need to. I have to. Boys and girls of every age, wouldn't you like to see something strange? Come with us and you will see this our town of Halloween. Yay!
Anyway, so this article caught my eye the other day. Like I said, it's a New York Times opinion piece, so I wasn't holding out much hope, but I don't know. I haven't actually read through it. It's not but maybe 3 or 4 paragraphs long, so I was going to read it. The real divide in America is between political junkies and everyone else. Most Americans view politics as two camps bickering endlessly and fruitlessly over unimportant issues. I would largely agree with that statement. I mean...
Oh. Sort of, yeah.
Like, most people just don't really care about politics that much. He said,
there
have fun,
are
Dally.
people that do care. Like, even people that aren't really into politics care about their Second Amendment rights.
Mm-hmm. Common common view of American politics today is of a clamorous divide between Democrats and Republicans, an unyielding, inevitable clash of harsh partisan polarization. But that focus obscures another enormous gulf, the gap between those who follow politics closely and those who don't. Call it the attention divide. What we found is that most Americans, upwards of 80% to 85%, follow politics casually or not at all. Just 15 to 20% follow it closely, and the people we call deeply involved. The group
people with no life.
Well, maybe not even just no life, but it's just like that is their life. Either it's because it's their business, or some people do it because politics closely affect their business. I like to give the example of Reaper talks about how he always follows things about Second Amendment laws and gun rights and stuff very closely because it literally affects his business. Yeah, he's a gunsmith. It literally affects what he's able to do.
It's required that he follows the
well, it's not that he follows the laws so much. It's not the thing about following the laws so much as it is just he follows what changes and what's going on in the court, what they're talking about proposing and stuff like that as well, because those politics directly affect how his job plays out, you know.
And if Biden gets in, he's fucked. Simply.
So we found that most Americans, upwards of 80%, 80 to 85% follow politics casually or not at all. Just 15 to 20% follow it closely, the people we call deeply involved. The group of people who monitor everything from Covfefe to politics of cuties. At the start of the year, i.e. pre-pandemic, we asked people to name the two most important issues facing the country. As expected, we found there were some clear partisan divides. For example, Republicans are more likely than Democrats to cite illegal immigration as an important issue.
Well, it is an important issue. Illegal immigration costs your country millions every year.
Right. And in that perspective, you know, more conservative people would cite that as a very important issue to talk about. Not as much so for people who are on the Democratic side of things. The important issues will be something different to them. I was going to mention Holy Reaper, but he's not here.
The most important thing to Democrats is voting in socialism.
I mean, not necessarily specifically that, but yeah. We found that most Americans. Oh, sorry, I need to scroll down a little more.
But on the number of other issues, we found that Americans fall much less neatly into two partisan camps. For example, Democrats and Republicans who don't follow politics closely believe that low hourly wages are one of the most important problems facing the country. But for hard partisans, the issue barely registers.
Right. I mean, if you think about that, to most people, you know, your average Joe, they're not really paying attention to immigration. However important or unimportant the issue may be, they just don't care who's coming and going from where. They expect someone else to handle that. It's like literally we elected officials to hire the people to handle this kind of stuff for us. Why are we going to worry about that? I'm worried about how much I'm making today. I'm worried about whether I can put food on my plate and my children's plates. You know, I've got kids at home to feed. I've got a spouse at home to feed. I've got a light bill to pay. I've got rent to pay. They don't care about the long-term longevity of the country as much as they care about their day-to-day of what's in front of them right then and there.
You're not wrong.
I mean, it's like it really puts a lot of things in perspective for those of us who are so deeply involved in politics to be able to go when you talk to someone at work and they have no idea what's going on. It's like it's not because these people don't have access to the same information you do. It's just they got other shit to worry about. They just don't care. If you want to go ahead and read the next part, Tally.
Partisan Republicans were most likely to say drug abuse was the most important problem facing the country, but less attentive Republicans ranked it second to last. And they were also concerned about the deficit and division between Democrats and Republicans.
Mm-hmm.
Among Democrats, the political junkies think the influence of wealthy donors and interest groups were an urgent problem. Okay, so people that vote Democrat, people that are registered Democrats, think that wealthy donors and interest groups are a problem. Like, I've heard Democrats in the House of Representatives say that as well. But it tends to be the Democrats who get most of their funding from these wealthy donors and interest groups.
Well, I'm not talking about what the actual reality is. It's just like, what is the perception? What do the masses think? You know, because ultimately you can say, well, this is the truth all day long, but if the masses don't agree with you, they're not going to vote that way. And if they think that this is what they think is important, this is what they're going to vote on. And so it's interesting to see an interesting perspective, in my opinion, on what the average person who's not deeply embedded in politics, who literally just watches their 6 o'clock news and gets it from there, or gets it just casually when it comes across a Facebook feed or something like that, doesn't get deeply involved in it, what they actually think about what's going on.
The issue there is most news networks in America tend to be run by people that are Democrats.
Mm-hmm.
Very few conservatives on news. And Facebook just outright gets rid of stories that are conservative and fact checks them. And even when their fact checkers go, oh yeah, it's true, they tend to say stuff like, it's mostly false.
Yeah.
But less attentive Democrats are 25% points more likely. Who starts a sentence with but? And what the fuck does 25% point? Percentage point.
Uh-huh.
That was my bad. More likely to name moral decline as an important problem facing the country. Wouldn't Republicans say that as well? Because, like, slut walks.
It's a problem that partisan Democrats never mention. So, yeah, I would say that moral decline. That's very vague, in my opinion.
Well, moral decline is stuff like corrosion of the family unit, like doing stuff like slut walks, normalizing sleeping around and being very promiscuous.
Mm-hmm. I find that
is an issue.
I mean, yes and no. I don't think it should be something that's glorified, but it also shouldn't be something that's shamed either, in my opinion.
I mean, if you want to be a slut, you should go ahead and be a slut, but don't expect other people to respect you as much as they respect someone that isn't a slut. Like, if you're gonna act like a slut, expect people to treat you like one.
I have other thoughts on that, but it's literally a different subject, so.
As far as I'm concerned, if you're going to act like a slut, you can't expect people to treat you like you are not a slut. Right? There are always going to be people that don't want to associate with you because you are promiscuous.
Mm-hmm.
And if you want to be promiscuous, but you want to be treated like someone that isn't promiscuous, keep that shit private and don't go on slut walks.
Yeah.
But keep it between you and the people that you take into your bedroom. Don't put it out into the world for everyone to see.
These gaps extend beyond issues to feelings about the other party. Hard partisans are twice as likely as people who pay less attention to politics to say that they would be unhappy if their child married someone of the opposing party.
Well, that's just sad.
Yeah, I mean, like, it's basically saying that, like, if
partisans will literally disown their children for going to the other side.
Mm-hmm.
And that's disgusting.
Hard partisans are also more likely to speak out about these political likes and dislikes. Almost 45% of them who are deeply involved say that they frequently share their views on social media, in some cases daily. It's only 11% of those It's only 11% for those without a political habit.
Well, in my mind, if you would disown your children for marrying or, you know, if you would disown your children for being part of the other political party, then you are no better than the parent that would disown their child for being gay.
Yeah.
It took a while, but I got there.
No, I was sitting there looking at this, and one of the things that, well, I mean, I'll probably cover that when we get to the end of the article because there's only a few more paragraphs, but I'm just looking at these numbers, and it makes me really pay attention to how few people there actually are sharing their political opinions on stuff. Like, okay, so if you take these numbers, we already established that anywhere from 15 to 20% of people are considered deeply involved, which would be people like us, people who really pay attention to politics and what goes on with the political sphere and do a lot of research and form our opinions fairly strongly, I think.
See, as far as I'm concerned, however, like they say that people would be deeply unhappy if their child married someone of the opposite party. See, if my son was to, when he grows up, if my son was to marry someone that is of the, like, that was a, like here in terms of the UK, was a member of the Labour Party, I'd be like, I think you're stupid, but okay. But in saying that, I'd also say the same about someone that was a conservative here in the UK, because we don't have right-leaning parties and left-leaning parties. We have hard left and not so hard left.
I was going to say you have left and then what the fuck are you doing parties.
We don't... The right-wing party is supposed to be the Conservative Party, but they're not the right-leaning party anymore. They're just slightly less left than Labour.
Mm-hmm.
We've got so far left they can't walk in a straight line, and left.
They've gone so far. Everybody's gone so far left, it's a NASCAR race.
Yeah. In saying that, we do have UKIP, which I guess technically you could say it's a right-leaning party. Their big issues are stuff like free speech and stuff like that. Their big thing used to be Brexit, but now that Brexit's going through, they've kind of added extra issues to their thing.
Mm-hmm.
So now it's all like free speech, freedom of expression, all stuff like that.
Actual liberal principles instead of like leftist principles.
Yeah. So I guess you could say it's a classical liberal party, but in today's climate, technically it's a right-wing party.
Yeah, like anything that just like, oh, you can say whatever you want. Well, that's racist. What? No, I didn't actually. Yeah.
They're also big on improving immigration policies here within the UK, and
I gotta tell Jacob that one.
Illegal immigration and all that sort of thing.
I gotta tell Jacob that one. Hikaru says they're making a left turn. Yeah, Jacob's a big NASCAR fan, so I gotta mess with Jacob about that one. It's just like they're so left.
They're making a left.
They're so left, it's turned into NASCAR.
That's a Jeff Dunham joke.
It really is. But it's just more of the percentages I'm looking at. I'm looking at the fact that, okay, like I said, 15 to 20% of people are actually like very into this kind of stuff, very politically involved. So you take that, and only 45% of them are actually saying that they share their views on social media and sometimes daily. So you're looking at roughly 10% of the population that's actually really sharing their more extremist views.
And so, I can guarantee you that most of those would be Democrats, because Republicans get shadow banned.
I will disagree with you because I've seen some shit on Twitter and Facebook that would make your head spin.
They are getting better, but
there are some Church of Trumpers too, and I've been in some of the libertarian circles that I've been in. They kind of look at they don't usually go towards the left, but they also don't care for Trump very much either in a lot of ways. And
well, most people don't care for Trump. I mean, he's an arsehole. Of course he's an arsehole. He's a businessman.
So the people that are deep throating his dick, they're just like, what the fuck, guys? What are you?
I still find it amusing how P. Diddy did all that shit he was saying about Trump, and then it came out that he's been at several parties where he was smiling and having a good time partying with Trump.
Wow.
Was he racist then, P. Diddy? Was he?
There are a lot of people that have made some silly remarks in that regard. But back to what the article says, it's only for 11% for those without a politics habit. To put this in perspective, a Pew study finds that 10% of Twitter users are responsible for 97% of all tweets about politics. That's exactly what I was getting to. That's exactly what I was trying to get to. 10% of Twitter users are responsible for 97% of all the tweets about politics. That is a ridiculous number. And it just goes to show you how small our little sphere actually is. You know, we're sitting here talking about politics on Twitter like it matters, you know?
Oh, our sphere is tiny.
Snow says, one party / tribe can freely express their opinions in public, regardless of how insane / destructive they are, and face little to no pushback, never mind violent retaliation. Well, that's another issue entirely, in my opinion. But the other party, tribe, can be shot for expressing their opinions, no matter how benign, in public, at least in the States. And again, that comes back to the people you're hearing express these opinions, especially on things like social media, are that small 10%. They're that little sliver of people. There's a chunk of those people. The other 90% of the world that uses these social media accounts probably won't agree with that. Like, most of us look at that and go, well, I would say shooting anybody for a political opinion is wrong. Like, why are these crazy people doing this? Why won't the police do something? Oh, yeah, okay. If they actually were made aware of these situations, I think the majority of people would have a problem with that kind of violence, like the execution that happened in Portland. That was awful. I don't care what your politics are. Nobody deserves to be shot in the head because they differed in politics than someone else.
I like the sentence. Imagining a co-worker who had to mute on Facebook because Trump posts became too hard to bear. What about the other side?
Well, you've gone down a little far. You've gone a little bit far down the list, Hallie.
Sorry.
You jumped ahead a little bit,
Yeah,
but I'll read that next paragraph and then we can talk about it. This gap between the politically indifferent and hard, loud partisans exacerbates the perception of a hopeless division in American politics because it is the partisans who define what it means to engage in politics. When a Democrat imagines a Republican, she's not imagining a coworker who mostly posts cat pictures and happens to vote differently. She is more likely imagining a coworker she had to mute on Facebook because Trump posts became too hard to bear. And it could be the same, you know, that's just an example they're giving. It could be the exact same way around. You know, I've had conversations with Snow right here in chat about how he's like lost his friends on Facebook because they just became too toxic to deal with. You know, like old high school friends.
I don't even talk to my sister anymore because she's so toxic when it comes to politics. I mean, she calls me racist because I don't think like some of the things that are happening within the UK should be happening.
Look, if she
sees, when it comes to
just show her one of her show her one of your live streams with Pat, and she'll completely throw that idea out the window. I couldn't help it.
He is a very sexy man.
Hey, memes. Hikaru says, I mean, even Assassin says Twitter is not an accurate reflection of society at large. I agree. Hikaru goes, Tally, we had a group of Republicans that were planning on kidnapping the governor in my state and killing her or stranding her out in the middle of a lake, out on a boat out in the middle of Lake Michigan. If I recall, it was actually not just
disgusting.
It wasn't just Republicans. It was there was a leftist group that was joining them and doing so, and it was like, okay, you know, you fucked up when you pissed off both sides. Like, somebody did something wrong here.
It is disgusting that someone would plan that, and I disavow.
They're debating what. I like your leaves. Thank you.
They are fabulous, aren't they?
I thought I did pretty good.
You like my
distributing
lights?
them.
They're little pumpkins.
Just little pumpkin lights. We'll zoom back in on the picture in a minute when we're finished with the article. Pat is a beautiful man. He very much is. We see the effects in this study, in a study we did with 3 other political scientists, James Druckmann, Samara Klar, and Matthew Lebedusky. Why are these names so hard to pronounce? Druckmann, Klarl, and we'll just call him James, Samara, and Matthew. That'll work. We asked a group of over 3,000 Americans to describe either themselves or members of the other party. Only 27% of these people said that they discuss politics frequently. A majority considered themselves moderates, but nearly 70% of these people believe that a typical member of the other party talks about politics incessantly and is definitely not moderate. For partisans, politics is a morality play, a struggle of good versus evil. But most Americans just see 2 angry groups of people bickering over issues that may not always seem pressing or important. How can politics better match opinions of the majority of Americans? The fact is, it's not an easy problem to solve. We can try to give the hardened partisans less voice in the news, featuring people who exemplify partisan conflict and extremist ideas elevates their presence in politics. Though, of course, by definition, it is the partisans who are most closely watching the news who are also most likely to give their opinions. This is particularly true on social media. What a vocal minority shares on social media is not the opinion of the public. Yet such political tweets as the political communication scholar Shannon McGregor finds are increasingly making their way into news coverage as stand-ins for opinion. Or stand-ins for public opinion.
That's just lazy journalism.
It really is, and part of the problem is that we have is that even though only a small portion of the population thinks this, because news companies thrive off of sensationalism and drama and things that keep people watching, keep people coming back, they'll say all sorts of things about what's actually going on.
People that will say the most outlandish things on the internet just for clout.
Yeah, and they'll take this little 10% that's very loud and vocal and be like, well, here's what the majority thinks. And it's like, no, that's not actually what the majority thinks.
If they were to go out onto the street and ask the average Joe what he thinks, most of them will just say, I just don't care.
Yeah. Or I don't know what's going on. It's just, and people get mad. So how are you not involved in politics?
They will kind of know what's going on. They just won't.
They'll have a rough idea, but they won't have as detailed an idea as, like, how many people do you think know about cuties? Like, all the stuff that went on around with that. I have friends that I'm like, I go over to their houses and I'm like, they're like, oh, well, let's pull this thing up on Netflix. And I'm like,
you still have Netflix?
You still have Netflix after cuties? And they'll go, what's cuties? They have no idea. They've never seen it. They've never heard about it.
Just the poster of that show made me uncomfortable.
And it does for most people. Like, I just described it to one friend at work, and she was like, oh my God, I had no idea what this was going on. And I'm like, yeah, I mean, just go take a look at the fucking trailer on Netflix. You don't even have to watch it. Just look at the trailer. Because you just hover over it and it'll show you the trailer.
I don't know how accurate this is, but I heard that there was a 14 to 15-year-old girl actually flashed her breasts on that show.
I don't know if she did that, but like I said, I haven't actually watched it, but like literally everything that all of the clips and images I've seen make me go, nope, nah.
I'm kind of tempted to watch it so I can actually go in depth about what it is. But at the same time, I'm so uncomfortable just looking at the poster. I don't want to.
Yeah. So I'm going to finish up the article real quick. There might be an advantage for politicians who focus less on demands of partisans and more on the tangible issues. Yes, hard partisans are more likely to reward ideological victories, but they are also a minority of the electorate. Wow, little words. Each day, partisan Democrats wonder whether the day's outrage will finally change how people feel about about President Trump. Partisan Republicans wonder the same thing about Joe Biden. But most regular voters are not paying attention that much to the attention to the daily onslaught. It turns them off. And the major scandals that hold on, one more sentence.
Okay.
And the major scandals that do break through, to many of them, that's just politics.
Who starts a sentence with "and"?
You're being hard on this article writer. But and he's using conjunctions to start a sentence. I mean, but no, yeah, I tend to agree.
Comma and comma but to start a sentence with that.
I tend to agree with the perspective here is that I find most people just don't care that much. Like, I bring up politics in a party or a public setting and try to discuss them with people, and I'm usually very reticent to do so because most of my opinions don't align with most others. But
before I was banned from my mother's house,
I wonder how much of that is my perception from things that I've been taken from.
I was banned from my mother's house because of a fight I had with her boyfriend. It was not pretty, and before I was banned from my mother's house, there were particular subjects that were banned from being talked about between me and my sister, because they would get very heated and could come across as quite nasty. And those subjects were religion and politics.
Mm-hmm.
Which I understand. It's not my fault she's wrong and she got aggressive from it.
It's not my fault she's wrong, but it's actually...
Which is what I said to my mum when she said I'm not allowed to speak about politics with Laura anymore. It's like, well, it's not my fault she's wrong.
But I think that's, like I said, when I go to a party, and I don't bring up politics very often, but I find most people just have no idea what I'm talking about. Like, if I'm sitting at a party with talking to people about this kind of stuff, most people just don't know. But I wonder if my reticence to discuss those things.
I've had a pretty good conversation with a guy that he's local to the village and he sometimes goes to the pub, but he's like in his 60s or 70s. I think he's in his 70s, and he's very politically involved. Me and him agree on quite a lot of politics. And I'm sitting there afterwards going, do I have the same political leanings as someone that's in their 70s? Am I like 29 going on 70?
Well, I have two thoughts there. One, I want to finish the one I was thinking of, and number two, I have a comment on that as well. I think part of the problem is that we have this perception that everybody thinks this one way. Everybody is an extremist for the left, and if you don't find those couple of conservatives in the room that would agree with you, you're not going to be able to have a conversation about politics. And I'm not even conservative. I'm friggin' moderate. I literally am like a centrist. When I take a fucking political compass test, I come up like super libertarian. Like,
when I take a political compass left, I'm a right-leaning libertarian.
Mm-hmm. I come up very middle of the road.
I'm further right than you are, but we're both. But in terms of authoritarian,
we're both very libertarian.
We're both very libertarian. Whereas on right to left, I'm right-leaning. You're centrist.
Kefki says your guys' cosplay looks amazing. Thank you, Kefki.
Thank you.
I guess it's the best one I've done so far.
It does look amazing.
I think partly because of all the vines in the room, that helps.
Oh,
Happy wants her attention. Come on, Happy.
I love the vines. They look great.
Come say hello to your adoring audience.
I am.
Your paw is caught on my.
Leave the vines up.
Your paw is caught on my. Thank you.
I am tempted to say that when we're done with the Harley and.
Shit, girl, I'm trying to move. I'm trying to move to my new place, but I gotta pack. I can't leave anything up. All right, hop down. Love you, puppy. But
yeah, I mean, when I'm done with these, I've got to put them all away as well and get stuff ready so that I can move.
when we did those tests, you were further right than me.
Yeah.
Was I? Because I was like, I was only this tiny bit. I still want to do that. I actually want to. That's one of my ideas for our a short and sweet. Is I want to have us record us doing a political compass test. We can take them together and then display our results.
Well, if you look at the political compass, it goes. There's a red square in the top left. Sorry. Then it's a yellow square in the top right. Then it's green in the bottom left and purple in the bottom right.
I didn't pay that close attention.
Okay, well, that bottom right square? I am smack bang in the middle of that thing last time I did a political compass test.
But as to my thoughts on the things that you said a minute ago, on the one, like I said, on the one hand, I wonder if our perceptions aren't skewed and there's not as many people who are just like super hyper liberal as we think there are, and there aren't as many people who are super hyper conservative as most people on the left think there are. Well, we can actually have these conversations as long as we remember that we're talking to another person and that they have thoughts, feelings, and perspectives of their own. I actually had a really good discussion with some people who were much more left-leaning than I am last night on another channel. We actually got into some things about perspective, like catcalling, for example. Like, what is, like, to you, what is...
I have found that people that are most against catcalling tend to be against it because they are not the ones that get catcalled. Because I've also seen, if you remember, there have been articles written about by particular women how they're so against catcalling. But then a couple of weeks later, they'll put out another article going, "Why don't men catcall me anymore?"
Well,
a lot of
that's
the ones that are
not
better about it tend to not be the ones that are catcalled.
And this wasn't the experience of the women I spoke to last night. There was at least 3 women that I was talking to who were, who, from their perspective, it does happen to them and it makes them feel uncomfortable. One in particular mentioned how she's, walking home at night from work. She's trying to get to the bus stop, and she's got guys in an alley at night trying to, like, not literally in a dark alley, but, like, she's trying to walk down the street, mind her own business. She's got guys catcalling her, and she's like, it's the middle of the night. I have no idea what these guys want, just some random dudes bothering me in the middle of the night. I'm nervous. I'm scared. And I'm like, no, that makes sense.
I would suggest she gets a gun for her own protection.
Yeah, but I mean,
if one of them does try to do something, she can shoot his ass.
That being said, it doesn't make the behavior any less shitty.
No,
don't bother somebody walking down the street. Don't sit there and sexually, accost someone with, even if it's verbally. Don't sit there and make lewd comments at someone and make them feel uncomfortable when they're walking down the street minding their goddamn business.
I have noticed that when people complain about catcalling, it's because it's not the men that they are attracted to.
Mm-hmm.
Like, no one complains about a very attractive man catcalling them.
I still would disagree. Like, it doesn't bother me. Like, personally, I gave him my experience. So personally, catcalling doesn't bother me. When I walk down the street and someone catcalls me, I think I did something right that day. But I've also never been in a situation...
You are hot.
Thank you. I've also never been in a situation where that's turned sour. I've also never been really in a situation where somebody's become, like, physically aggressive with me because I was not returning their romantic or sexual attentions.
I've never had it get aggressive either.
Right, because most guys I'd say about 99% of guys you can shut down, and there's that 1% who just doesn't understand what no means and fucks off. But their experiences are tainted by either a particularly intense event or that they've had in their lives, or through sprinklings of they just ran across a string of bad luck and had several instances like that, and start to wonder if not most or all men are like that. And so I actually had a really civil discussion about the differences of perspectives and experiences in life.
I've been catcalled by men, and like,
I bet you have.
The best thing to do is just laugh at it. See, like my 18th birthday.
You know
me
what?
and the entire group of women got catcalled by two men that were in a car, and it was hilarious.
I'm gonna
And
start
we all
catcalling
thought
women now.
There
men.
was like there was like 8 of us.
Hey, boy, looking good in them
the-
jeans. Woo woo!
Actually, I've got a friend who was in the summer he was outside his house chopping wood for the fireplace for the winter, and he got catcalled by 2 girls riding a horse.
Nice.
But there was 8 of us, and these 2 guys, they pulled over their car just so they could catcall us, and we thought it was hilarious.
Yeah. But
my mother got very embarrassed and ran off up the street after she put her head in the window and said, "Sorry, can you say that in English?" and realized it was 2 black men. They were Caribbean.
Wow. Damn.
Well, she got embarrassed when she realized that they were 2 black men from the Caribbean, ran off up the street and hid in a doorway. And these 2 men, they heard her say that, and they saw her run away, and they were pissing themselves laughing. They thought it was funny.
I could see how she was embarrassed though. Like, I'd be like, "Oh my god, I can't believe that." Like, it's like
this was back when my mum was fun.
Sometimes it seems flirting if the woman finds the man attractive and catcalling when she does not. No, we're literally talking about you're walking down the street minding your own business and a guy just goes like, or wolf whistles at you, or makes lewd comments about you.
Hey baby, what you doing tonight?
That kind of thing. And it doesn't matter what the guy looks like, it's unwanted attention. And I
think the big issue is that a lot of people are overly sensitive because of the climate that we're living in. Because there was a time where if a man catcalled you and you didn't want the attention, you could just tell him to fuck off.
Yeah. I mean, I also think it depends on the personality, because not all of these women that I spoke to last night have very boisterous personalities like you, Tally. There's one in particular that I spoke with that wasn't in the voice call, but she was in the chat. Who's very, very timid personality. She's very shy, very quiet, very soft-spoken. And so going up to a guy and telling him to fuck off after he's catcalled her is not in her wheelhouse.
Oh, you don't have to go up to him. You can just tell him, piss
I'd
off.
walk up to the guy and be like, "So what you got? You know, nothing? Okay, that's what I thought. You can't handle this. Bye." You know, that'd be me. But it'd probably be you too. Just given your personality. But at the same time, that's not everybody.
I mean, even a guy that's like twice my size, I'm scrappy and I have no issue with shouting someone down.
Yeah.
Even if I am completely aware that if it was to come to fists, he'd really hurt me, that I would give it a good go, and I'm quick.
But I was talking about the difference.
Guy can't try anything if you smack him in the nuts hard enough.
That's what I was saying, was that what led me into that was the commentary on different perspectives. People have these perspectives and perceptions of things as a certain way when it's not necessarily everyone's experience and not necessarily the same thing. You know what I mean? I had a very long conversation last night about that, about perspectives and perceptions.
That video that came out a few years ago of a woman that was wearing like short shorts and a little strap top walking around New York City, and they were showing how often she was catcalled.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if you actually watch that video, apparently she spent all day walking around New York City, the worst parts of New York City as well, and most of those were just men saying good morning or hello. They weren't even making grotesque comments, most of them. There was like 1 or 2 comment that you were a bit, that was not the best thing to say. Like, he's an asshole. But most of them were just, good morning, beautiful. Hello, beautiful.
Yeah. They were trying to be just complimentary and just move along with their day. And that was the thing. That was the thing I had another conversation about. That was the thing I had another conversation about last night, because one of the guys there he's very young. He's like 18, and he was like, he's like, I just don't talk to women, period, because the last thing I want is a sexual harassment charge, so I just don't talk to girls. Fuck it. Most of my generation doesn't. We don't really do that. That happens fine, but we're not going out of our way to look for people and to try to date because... And they were like, well, why would you feel that way if you're not doing anything wrong? And I'm like, no, girls, before you jump on his case, he's not the only young man I've talked to who feels this way. There are plenty of kids, especially around his generation. Yeah, not even, I didn't say just men, but just especially his generation are looking at stuff that's happened with our generation and are going, fuck no, I don't want to get Me Too'd. I'm not speaking to women.
Well, there's a Section 9 where you don't actually have to do anything. You just have to be accused of something and you can be kicked out of university.
So how come I never hear about dudes complaining about themselves getting catcalled? Because it doesn't happen. Women don't do that usually. Well, it happens far...
It does happen, but most men are more thick-skinned and they can just go, yeah, I'm hot, and go on with their lives.
It happens, but to a far lesser extent than it does for men catcalling women.
Well, you've got to remember that men and women, they show that they are attracted to someone in very different ways.
Yeah, and then Mustafa made a very good point. Speaking as a New Yorker, a lot of the time it's just not wanting to be bothered if you're heading somewhere. Right, and that's exactly what my friend last night was talking about. She was like, I'm just walking down the street trying to get home from work. I'm headed home. I'm tired. I've been at work all day. I just want to go home, and I got creepy dudes sitting here catcalling me in the middle of the night in the street, and I'm just going,
get a gun.
I don't need this. I don't need this
get a gun
kind of problem. But
if she walks home at night on her own and she's scared of what
I'm aware of what she needs to do and should do, Tally. It doesn't change the feeling of that, and it doesn't make it less creepy or cringy to do something like that. Like I said, regardless of what, keeping herself safe is a good thing. That was my response, is that I'm not worried because I have a...
Yeah, the only person responsible for her safety is her.
Obviously, that's what you're missing my point, Tally.
Probably.
And my point is that my point is that while yes, that would keep her safe and might even make her feel a little bit better, it doesn't make the act of what they did less. Do you know what I'm saying? Yes, it is her responsibility to make sure she's safe.
And I agree. The issue there is you can't control what other people do.
I would agree.
You shouldn't want to.
But
all you can do is control what you do.
Then the discussion, the commentary was on like, no, this is creepy and this is why. And I was just like, yes, I generally agree. Catcalling is dumb and shouldn't be done because it doesn't really make any connections with people. It just makes people feel uncomfortable.
I remember when I was a teenager, I went up to one of my dad's sites, one of his work sites, with my mum. Because my dad was there. And my dad had gone off the site to go somewhere else for a few minutes. So we were waiting on the site for him. And my older brother was working on this site along with a load of lads. And they weren't working. And my mother was a director at the time. And she goes, "Oi, what are you doing? Get back to work." And my brother leans over the railing and goes, "You won't believe what I'm looking at up here." It's like, I don't care if you're looking at some bitch sunbathing topless. Get back to fucking work. He's there going, "How did you know?" They were watching some woman sunbathing on the roof next door naked. Well, topless. And she's like, "There's a group of 7 men stood up there, not working, just gawking. I think I know what you're looking at."
I mean, yeah. But like I said, that's what the conversation was about and how it makes a person feel when it happens. Yes, there are steps that you can take to make yourself feel more secure and safe. Yes, there are steps that you can take to, But it doesn't. Most of the time, it doesn't happen. It happens irrespective of what you're wearing. It happens irrespective of.
It does.
What you even look like. Sometimes it's just if they perceive you as a woman and they see that, they'll catcall you. And I had it happen to me when I was presenting as a boy. So.
You know what? I have seen some men that have long hair and they look very feminine from the back, and they'll get catcalled.
Loose t-shirt and jeans, and there's no way they could. I mean, they saw me from the back.
No, he was wearing skinny jeans, long hair, skinny jeans. He got catcalled. Yeah, and he turned around, big beard, and the guy that catcalled him was like, "Sorry, mate."
That's hilarious.
The embarrassment on this guy's face was the best thing I'd ever seen. It was almost as funny as the time I got catcalled when I was very pregnant.
That said, kids, we are about to wrap up here soon. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, please leave them in the chat. Tally and I will answer them to the best of our ability.
I've got to say, I think the creepiest catcall I ever had was I was walking down the street with one of my friends, and this guy came over to me and asked me if he could take my picture because I'm very beautiful. It's like, no. I appreciate you asking, but no.
No. No. I've had that happen once before, and I was like, nah, I'm good, fam. Don't take my picture.
I was 17.
Hell no. No. What's up with the vines? I'm Poison Ivy.
She's Ivy. Can you not tell?
I'm Poison Ivy.
He doesn't know who you are, Red.
Oh my gosh, Charles. I can't believe he's not aware of who I am.
How dare he?
Oh my goodness. Someone was wanting to make an altar to Tally. Yes, they were. What are we doing for the final night of Halloween? Well, we were gonna kind of reprise vampires. I don't know that that's gonna happen anymore. I might have to sit down with you, Tally, and figure something else out.
Yeah, that's fine.
I don't know if that's gonna work for me anymore. Hi, how are you? I'm good. How about you?
I'm sure we can come up with some kind of closet cosplay.
I got called Miss at work one day when I had long hair. Guy who did it got the shock of his life when he turned around and saw my beard.
I was walking down the street. I'd just come out of one of those baby shops because I was very pregnant and I was getting the last minute things that I needed before I went into labor. So I was in this baby clothing shop, and I was getting a few things for my little one. Neutral at the time because I didn't know whether I was having a boy or a girl. And I was walking down the street, and someone catcalled me. And I turned around with this massive bump. It was huge. Oh, it was so big. I turned around, and I've never seen someone get so embarrassed and apologize so quickly. He was just like astounded that he catcalled someone that was that pregnant, and wow. I felt kind of bad for him.
Wow. I mean, don't get me wrong, pregnant or not, a cat called you too, but you know.
Hey, I looked good when I was pregnant.
You look good now? What you talking about?
I wore it well.
I bet. Well, since you're wrapping up, thanks for answering my question. Have a good evening. Have a good night. I forgot what I was going to say next. Tally's anecdotal stories kind of do that to me sometimes. Just but no, back to what I was originally saying. I think there's a lot of misconceptions we all have about what other people around us think when it comes to politics or any controversial issues. And maybe we shouldn't be so scared to actually go out there and have these conversations and be like, well, did you know about this? You know, no, I didn't know about that.
As long as they're civil.
As long as they're civil. And I find, like I said, last night I was pleasantly surprised that the conversation was as civil as it was. And despite having different perspectives and different views, they actually stopped and listened to what I had to say. and listen to my perspective. And I was like, look, I understand that some of this is coming from my experiences and my perspective.
Well,
but I also feel like we should.
Leaning, they can't not listen to what you have to say, because if they do that, then they are transphobic.
It's not even that. And I don't play that card when I'm in public with people.
I know. I'm messing with you.
I don't play that card. I don't even think any of those people even know yet, but if they haven't figured it out, but
not everyone's as perceptive as I am.
And even then, Tally, you just get lucky once in a while. Let's be honest.
I'm just pretty good at reading people.
I'm gonna call bullshit, because there are a lot of subtleties that you fucking miss.
There are subtleties that I miss, yes. However, I'm pretty good at figuring out, like, what people are and all of that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there are a lot of subtleties that I will pick up on that other people won't as well.
Uh-huh. Sure. Anyways, kids, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching. If you like what we do on this channel, hit that like button and share with your friends. If you haven't already, for some reason you've been sitting here watching these two lovely, lovely villains have a wonderful conversation, and you haven't hit that little red button that says subscribe yet, please do. With that, I think Miss Tally and I are done for the evening. We'll be in Discord hanging out after this.
Yes, we will.
If you haven't found it already, there's a link in the description to our Discord. Please come over and hang out with us. We'd love to talk to you. So, with that said, I think we're done. Did I miss anything, Miss Tally?
I don't think you did. I do think we're done. Bye!
Bye, everyone.
Lay back, relax, enjoy it all. Saturday night, it's time to say no more. S&M with Tally and KRC. Come pleasure or pain, welcome to the stream.